Okay, time for a map guide of Krakoa. Domination maps are a bit different in that they're a bit more deathmatchy. So that kind of changes based off of like how you do your off angles and whatnot. But I'll do my best to try and explain like pathways to take and like what each of the portals do. And just do it to the best of my ability. And also the maps are mirrored, so once what I
Communists
say
have
for one
captured this
side
area.
will
Got it?
work for the other. First and foremost, these portals don't open up until after 50%. I think it might be, I think it's 50. It might even be like 55 or 60 or something, but
You won't run
those
away.
won't open up until 50%. So I'll go over those later. As you walk up, depending on if you're tank or support, this is usually the pathway that most people take. Uh, as tanks, you're going to try and like take space here. Um, our team went full like melee and they went like Penny uh, and Bucky and Groot. We got countered right out the gate with like the worst team comp imaginable to go up against. So not much I can say team comp wise from us on this end, but the goal is to basically try and get here and set up as fast as you can and try and like take this space. Because the moment you take this space, you see how Penny is here on the point. She can start to deny this space from the rest of us, which makes it very easy to then come in and try and take it back, especially given that we just had like the worst team comp. So usually what people will do is they'll meet in the middle here, and they'll start fighting. If you are a DPS, you probably want to start taking off angles ahead of time. Me personally, if I am playing Psylocke as my team is moving forward, I kind of like to go around the outside here, either by walking through and around or going around the outside from the get go, and take this off angle immediately. Because as they start to push up, I start to apply pressure here. This works because a lot of the times what's going to happen is you're going to have some people set up on point and you'll have some people set up in here to try and get an off angle as they sort of pincer in. So when I take this angle, I tend to find a lot more people sort of facing this direction at my team. And the tanks are going to do their best to try and sort of deny space or take space either by taking it here or by taking it up here. And supports, the different places you're usually going to stand as it starts off is usually back here. You can see how like if you're near this cover here, this is a good cover. You can heal your team. You have the cover from this piece here. You're only kind of open on your left side, but that's a pretty wide angle that most aren't going to take. So we'll let this play off a little bit. You see here that now that the point starts to get taken, there's different angles to take on the point. When you are directly on the point, a lot of times you're kind of left in the open. You don't have a whole lot of cover. So in these windows are really good areas to off angle because of the fact that you have good positions to use for cover and you can fire shots and get back behind cover. Uh, you also have the middle area up here, which is pretty good. But the problem also with this is that if you are in here, you are funneled in and you don't have places to strafe left and right for cover. You can only back up. And if you don't get out soon enough, you will end up dying for it. The area here does break away, but that takes a little bit beforehand. So what you can try to do is you can try and like what our team could have done here is try and contest the space by going this direction and attacking the people on the outside here and going for these angles. Because if you get these extreme angles, you can get a better view on the enemy. But remember that the farther and the deeper that you go into enemy territory, the greater chance you have of getting an angle on the enemy, but also the greater chance you have of the enemy then collapsing in on you if they coordinate for that. So it works great if you have hyper mobile characters where you can get behind here very quickly, do a quick attack like Psylocke can, and then get out very quickly. So if you're playing non-mobile heroes, you generally want to stick to these like closer off angles. You don't all want to stack up against each other. And I usually when you find yourself down in this place, it's usually because you're running away. This is not a great angle to attack from because you're coming from the bottom angle. It's always easier to shoot down than it is to shoot up because you have the advantage of backing away and naturally finding cover that way. Yeah, we'll let this play out a little bit more. Here, you can see how easily it is to like sort of turtle up, um,
Mission area
especially with Groot
accepted.
applying his own cover. We just did not have the team comp. We literally just we picked the worst possible characters we could have from the very get go. Once we started to make some swaps, then it started to get a little bit easier. Uh,
Initial progress has
We ulted on point to create space. This gave us a little bit of an advantage to sort of come in and straight up brawl on the point. Uh, this can work if you have support ultimates. That's how you can like force space to be created instead of taking those off angles. It changed us into a more brawl heavy comp, especially with me and Emma Frost, and we had Mr. Fantastic and Thor here. Like we wanted to just force our way onto the point and then fight it out. Um, but here you can see that now the portals have opened up. And one thing that you might not know is if you go up next to the portal and stand next to it, the portal that it's connected to will have a white outline over it. So if you're ever curious to like where a portal goes before you jump into it, if you stand next to it, you'll briefly see a white outline in the distance. This one is directly connected to this portal back here. It's a good way to usually get out of the fight very quickly. I don't generally use it to go back into the fight because once again, when you could use this as a way to sort of sneak in, but when you're coming from below in, that's not really the best place to be. Um, and then you also have this portal down here, which also leads to this one up here. So if you ever see someone who's like a Hela or something sniping in this window and you don't have great mobility, if you go down and portal, you can get up there. And the same is true on the opposite side here. This portal leads to that one up there. So if you ever have a, non-mobile hero and you're getting sniped from up above, and you need to get up there, that's the fastest way to do so. You have health packs in there and out there. So there's 2 health packs in this area that you can use. Uh, I use this health pack a lot of times to sort of grab the health pack and then get away. That one is very useful. Um, yeah, and let's see. Oh, and there's this portal here, which connects to this one over here. So generally speaking, I think that using these portals outside the spawn gives you a little bit of a boost to get in, and kind of like gets you there a little bit faster. Whoa, so we lost there. And it does help you get to the point, I think a little bit quicker. I haven't really timed it to test, but I believe it does. So that is a good way to sort of get yourself back to the point maybe a little bit faster. Uh, Generally speaking, though, when you're fighting over this point, a lot of the times, what the rooms that I try to fight for control over are like these rooms here on the side, because these are really fantastic rooms to have control over. And these angles here to shoot from. These are my favorite places to try and attack and take space. Uh, because you just have great angles all around. You can use great cover. And yeah, it's just the most beneficial. And then your job as DPS as well is to try and contest these spaces. You don't want to just like all stand on the point. Standing on the point is a great way to get shot because of the fact that there's no cover, so you just rely on raw healing and raw damage output. Like basically your team just aims better than their team. So for me personally, if no one's on the point, then, like a tank can be on the point because they can contest the point. But if you are a DPS or a support, these areas are a lot safer. Like for instance, the supports, can be in this room as the tanks are pushing up, and they can use this area as a much safer place to be. Um, and it's just better all around than being directly on the point. Because when you are on the point, if you try to get away, there's no place to go to. There's no cover. There's no place to hide. Whereas if you're in here, you can generally hit people a lot easier, and you have good LOS of them, but you have good cover in case you need to get away. Yeah, let's play a little bit more. I think that's all I really need to cover as I think we lose this one pretty badly the first round. But yeah, generally outside of that, anything farther away, like these, these larger areas on the outside that you can go around aren't really used as often. It's just too far away from the point. Not as useful. There's a lot of areas in these maps that are just sort of like unused. Like over here, you'd never find a reason to have yourself over here. Like there's a health pack and stuff. But if you're out that far, you're so far away from the point, you're away from your team. That's not the best place to be. Let's see. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. Generally speaking here, like here, you can use this, like the Hela's doing as cover as she's backing away and shooting at the enemies from there. But once again, not my favorite place to be because, she can ult and she can stay alive here. But if people were to close that gap and to collapse on her, it's very easy to walk down the stairs than it is to go up someplace. If you're up someplace high, it means that the enemies need to use some sort of mobility usually to get to you. So they have to waste an ability to get to you, and that's sort of beneficial versus just walking towards you, right? Anytime you are playing a squishy hero, like a support or a DPS, you want to position yourself in a place where it is very difficult to reach you. Uh, you don't want to make yourself easy access. Like right here, that thing runs onto the point and slams down on the Hela, and he gets to do that because of the fact that she's just out on the point, right? If he wanted to slam in before and she was in this window throwing out headshots, like it'd be much more difficult for him to hit her in this window than it is down here. Right now, they're winning through sheer brute force. Um, but yeah, that's a very dangerous place to be because of the fact that like in these areas, it's just more beneficial to be shooting in here because then characters like the Thing can't just like run in on you.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Okay, second map here. So immediately, usually coming out, people are going to rush up to these areas. This is generally the area that you're going to contest for space early. Uh, Hellfac, this one is one of the super beneficial ones. Same with that portal down there, which opens up once again after 50%. If you are playing a flank hero, Captain America, Psylocke, sometimes you can go around this side and you get like a quick early off angle route relatively quickly. It's a very short route to take, and it keeps you up on high ground, which is always my favorite. I always try to keep myself up on high ground because it's very easy to go down. It's not easy to go up. So I try to start at the top, and if I have to, I go down only if necessary. Like right here, our Punisher is going to go up. He's going to contest for some space. Yeah, Cap dives in to create some space. Now, on these maps, like this one very specifically, because of the fact that there's not really, solid specific choke points like there are on a convoy map, you have to really play around these individual pillars of, geo for space, right? For cover. This piece in the middle is great to use as space as well, but you're always wanting to rotate around this stuff and be fighting around these things and using these things as cover and then taking access to the point. Don't just fight in the open without having, without being mindful of using these pieces as cover when you need to, because just standing out in the open, it just leaves you so super vulnerable. Uh, this one is also like you can use the back area here. This is a good place where as the teams push up and people are fighting from this angle, you rotate around and you get to this angle. And if you rotate around to this way, you can see how now this area here is a lot more open. Whereas if your team is shooting from this direction and they're using this middle piece as cover, you have this area with a lot more of an LOS on the enemy. So if Punisher were to start rotating this way, he'd have a good angle on everyone. And while everyone is distracted by the Captain America back here, he could already be moving up and applying pressure to them on this side. So try to utilize these little individual totem pieces, pillars as cover, and never just duel out in the open. Like, always be mindful of the fact that at some point, you could be taking a lot of damage and you need to get behind cover. All too often, people are standing out in the open and then wondering, like, why they're not getting healed or, why they died in front of their supports. Your supports have to reload. Your supports are healing everyone. If everyone is taking damage too quickly, you need to be mindful of the fact that, if that supports need to heal everybody and they can't heal everybody at the same time. So what you should be doing is making sure that you're always in a position where if your supports need to heal someone else first, you're not going to die by waiting a couple of seconds. So that's why I'm always positioning myself near like areas of cover like that.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
So here we're taking control of the point, which is good. As you push them up and you push them out, you can hold this choke point here because now they sort of have to like funnel in this way. There is this tunnel here, which you can kind of like flank around. It's not the best. I have used it occasionally though, but not really my favorite. Because you are kind of like isolated in that tunnel. Like once you're in here, if someone tries to chase you down and you can't get away, you're out of the LOS of your team, but you also don't have any cover in here to play with like a totem or a pillar or whatever. So here we can push them up and back over here to this choke point because their spawn door is up here. So generally speaking, this is the shortest pathway. But because we are looking, they're looking down at us and we're looking up at them. It's not the safest because you can see like as I start to back up with my camera, there's not a whole lot of places to hide for cover. So we're shooting and applying pressure, but it's just to slow their progression towards the point. And as we start to back out, uh, I didn't see me notice Punisher made a mistake there. We back out and then we back around to this corner, to this area, which is much safer. Because now we have a lot of areas of cover and we're forcing them to come into us and into a place where we want to brawl. Because now once like walking through this choke is dangerous, right? Like once you walk through this choke, it's dangerous for them. And this is where we want to hold them. We don't want to walk past this choke because walking past this choke is dangerous for us because now that Wolverine has kidnapped one of their tanks, he put him farther past the choke, which makes it very difficult for them to walk forward. Doing enough damage, we force them to walk backwards. And we use ults and force them back. They use Luna ult, which forces us to back up and give up space. And we back up to once again where it is safer, which is right here. And now that they're trying to walk through this choke, because once again, this is the area where it's difficult to take, because like walking through this area is dangerous. So much is happening. You can see how much more dangerous it was for the enemy team, even though they were ulting, to like walk through this choke point, right? This is why like you always want to be mindful of like your cover and how to slow the enemy's progression to the point. Because this area is very difficult to get through, right? When you're looking at it from this point of view, there's not a whole lot of places you can go. You can try and make some space, but this is where you can take this angle to try and like, you know, shoot from the sides here. But once again, very dangerous if they ever wanted to collapse in on you. It can work if you are stuck at this choke. Otherwise, what you can do, if you are a flanker, you can go up and around this way, and you can get this angle up above on them. So for me personally, I like this area a lot better if I was to try and take an off-angle route and create space. So while my team is going this way to try and like push through this choke point, I might come up here as a DPS to try and create space by getting a cheeky pick this way. Because now that the enemy team is using this area as cover, this area as cover, and this area as cover, I have angles on them to where I can apply pressure and either get a pick or do enough damage that I force them to walk backwards, which would create space for my team to get through this choke point. And then, you know, once you are through here, once again, once they start to push you out of this place, you kind of want to back up and hold this ground. This health pack is, like I said, this is one of my most useful health packs that I use most frequently. Oh, and the portals. This one, there's always like usually a portal that's like on the point that kind of goes like horizontal perpendicular from where you start. So this one goes back towards this area here, and there's a health pack just on the other side of it. So if you do manage and you are low, pop through this portal, and the moment you pop through the portal, you'll immediately drop on top of the health pack usually. So if you're ever low and you're on the point and you're defending, pop through the portal, grab the health pack, and then wait a second and then pop back through. It's a great way to keep yourself on the objective and not be gone for too long. So yeah, that one is super beneficial. There's other portals back here. Oh, I guess these open up at 60%. That's what it is. The other ones must open up at like 50. This portal back here is one that is a portal. There you are. Is over here. So if you want to get to the point a little bit faster, you want to bypass this choke because that one's too difficult to get through. You can take the portal here on the right, which will take you to the right side of the point. When you are here and you take this portal as a team, hopefully, you can immediately force the enemy team, if they are holding this choke, to go back to the point to defend it here. But don't all go the same direction. Don't everybody go from the same spot. If your team starts to push this way, you are a DPS or something, try to push this angle as well. Be careful. When this map first came out, I went around this direction. This is a bad pathway to take. Once you end up down here, this is a really crappy place to be because if you fall down here and your team is fighting on the point, even if you walk back to the jump pad, there you are. even if you walk to the jump pad, get back up, and try to walk back around, the amount of time it takes you to get on the jump pad and get back into the fight is so long that you are greatly leaving the fates out of your hands in terms of like, whether or not you win or lose this game. This jump pad is not a fast way to get back into the fight. Uh, so you do have this portal down here plus a health pack. Like if you need to get away and you need to get out of the fight, and there's no way you're going to live without jumping down, you can jump down, but I say probably grab this health pack and then use this portal, which will take you straight to this one and drop you directly on the point, which depending on how the fight is going, you need to make that call as to whether or not it's safe. If you want to get back into the fight quickly, that's the portal to take, and it'll drop you directly back on the point. And then after you do that, try to immediately find cover. But if you just need to get out and stay alive, get out, fall down, and then take the jump pack out or jump pad out and grab the health pack, and then just like walk away and back up and regroup with your team. But yeah, that portal is the fastest way back to the point. Certain people like Scarlet Witch or people who can fly can get to this portal and use it to go back underground, but I've not really ever used it that way. So yeah, if you find a use for that, let me know. But otherwise, not really one that I use too often. Um, but yeah, I think that pretty much covers it here. Just really when you're defending the point and you're fighting over the point, be mindful of using these totems as cover. And using these sides and using the different areas to try and utilize this cover to try and create those off angles. Kind of rotate along the outside. Don't just be fighting on the inside. Like if you're fighting on the inside, always expecting heals all the time, uh, you're going to stress out your teammates. You're going to pull out too many resources, and then it's just whichever team aims and applies damage faster. And for me personally, I prefer the strategy of finding an off angle and taking away valuable cover from the enemy. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. There's other areas like health packs and stuff back here. But once again, once you start to get so far outside of the territory of like the zone of the fight, it's not really beneficial to be out there, right? Like they have pathways in these maps, but nobody's ever going to come over to these areas usually. And once again, the portals, the sides are basically mirrored. Oh yeah, there's a health pack back here. This is one typically that most people don't use, but if you're playing against a Spider-Man, they use this one all the time. So, if you ever see a Spider-Man duck back here, that's where he's going. Oh yeah, if you're also down ever below here, there's a jump pad here. So if you're running away, you need to get away safely, you can hop down here and get back to the health pack or the portal up that way. Me personally, I do really like utilizing this high ground a lot and using these areas to kind of bob and weave in and out of. Because you can see up here, especially if you're playing like a hit scan or something, you can get good angles on everybody. The only bad part is this spot here. But these other areas, you can have good LOS of the point. And you can still go back left and right to use this thing as cover. One more thing to go over about like support's positioning on this map. You generally want to see yourself like farther away. You don't want to be directly in the middle of the fights. Like, unless you're playing Invisible Woman, Luna, Cloak and Dagger, and Rocket can all hit their shots from far away. So you can play a little bit farther back in these areas. And then as you start to back up, you can back up and use the areas of cover that I was talking about. You can use, as the team starts to push up, if they start to fall back behind this point, you can fall back here as a support and you can apply pressure and you can off angle and you can provide value. If you need to, you can rotate over here, but you're using these trees to your advantage. Same for like if you're playing Rocket, you can be up here. I do like using this area as Rocket. I have given people the jukes before by hopping down and having them chase me and then just like rocket shooting myself straight back up. So yeah, you want to be trying to position yourself away from the point. Like let other people brawl on the point. Let the tanks hold the space on the objective. Let the DPS off angle. And as supports, try to stay away from where all the damage is. Stay away from the crazy hecticness of the fight. Unless, of course, like, once again, if you have to be up closer like Invis Woman, sure. But if you're Invis Woman, it just means that you're still playing safe, but you're playing around these little tiny areas of cover and using them to your advantage. Don't just stand in the open and trying to just shoot better than the enemy team. Play smart. Use these angles, use these pieces of cover and go from there. And recognize that, when the fight is over, when it's time to just leave. But yeah, that's where you would position if you were support on this level.
And 5.
Okay, so last and final map.
All you need to do is capture the mission.
As you're rushing to the point, this health pack, one of the most important ones to keep in mind. That one's the one I use most often. There's another one over here this way, also very valuable. Um, there's a jump pad and portal over here. Waterfall you can walk through. Portal that will open up eventually. On this point, when you are here, generally speaking, the tanks will go up this way and start immediately trying to take control over the point. You as a DPS need to rotate around the trees a lot, same as supports. You want to try and utilize the advantages of going around like these off angles here and taking away the cover. Generally speaking, if you are playing like a DPS or something, you want to be sneaking around the trees and the pillars as much as you can and utilizing this to take away cover from the enemy team. Because yeah, it's mostly just how you rotate around these different like pillars of geo, these trees and whatnot, in order to take away and deny space from the enemy team. It's very deathmatchy in that way. But when everybody goes on the point, if everyone just starts fighting from here, you can see the moment they duck behind these trees, they're basically safe. And yeah, if everyone can utilize the same cover, then it's very easy to get away. And the only time that like a fight ends up going in your favor is when there's a lucky pick or something that happens, and you don't want to rely on luck. This rocket is doing what supports should be doing, which is he is staying very far out of the fight. He is not being anywhere near the danger. He's up on the high ground. He has access to a health pack here. He also has overhead cover from any flyers or Spider-Man type players that might, that we might have had just in case. So he can provide a lot of great valuable heals while staying out of danger and near the safest place possible. If you are playing support, especially long range supports, one of the best things that you can do is position yourself far away at like sort of the max distance that you can, but still providing value, and near health packs like this, up on high ground, because he can just keep pumping heals and provide value to his team and be very, very safe. That the only people that can reach this rocket then are, flankers or divers or something that can try and close that gap. But even if we did manage to close that gap, he's got a health pack and eventually a portal that will open up for him. There's also, like I said, there's a health pack down there as well. So this is a really smart position for Rocket to be in. If you're playing an Invis woman, you definitely want to be up closer and playing around these trees just like a DPS would. Invis woman hit the portal late, unfortunately, so they're not going to get a whole lot of value out of it.
Mission area is yours.
Generally speaking, this area, like around this tree, even though it is nice looking, is totally useless. Nobody goes back this way. This health pack is kind of useful sometimes when you're getting pushed. You can use this jump pad if you are a non-mobile hero, especially. Like a Punisher or a Hela, and you can come up here. And if you are on this side, a cheeky thing that you can do is that if you just barely peek through the waterfall, you can see through the waterfall, but they can't entirely see you. I don't know if this is sort of like an exploit or a cheap thing to do, but I have done it before, where you can stand on this lip, walking up to a certain point, I think like right up to like this area here, and you can stay on it pretty consistently, and you can just like, you can't be seen exactly through the waterfall super clearly, but you can still see through enough to shoot your shots. So that's a good place to get an off angle where you're not going to be seen immediately if you wanted to get a cheeky pick, because you can get a great angle on everyone. But once again, once you take these dangerous off angles, if your team isn't pushed up and they have divers or something, they jump on you, you're going to die very quickly. But this is a good angle in which to take if you are somebody like a Hela, a non-mobile DPS, where you're trying to get a pick on the enemy team while they're using this as cover. Because you can see how Wolverine backs up, and even though this is just a tree stump, he's still using it as cover. Once you're on this side and your team is pushing up and they push them back to here and they're using these areas as cover, you have an angle on them where your team does not. You can see here, Punisher got the right idea. He's creating an off angle here where he's applying a bunch of damage, a bunch of pressure. Rocket is playing up, probably because we have control, so he's feeling a little bit more confident. The rocket is not dying very often. Good for him. Okay, this portal is opened up. So the portals. This portal, I don't know if it's a different percentages or what. This portal takes you to the other side here if you wanted to get a flank off. But once again, the deeper the flank angle that you take, the more danger you put yourself in if they collapse in on you. So this might be a way to take the portal and get a cheeky pick and maybe teleport back if possible. The other portal is this one here. It doesn't take you too far, but it is technically a little bit leap forward towards the point. So you can take that to get a little bit closer. This portal here takes you up through the waterfall and on the other side straight to a health pack. Because once again, if you need to get out, you're in danger. Grab this portal here, take you to the health pack. Or if you just wanted to set up for an angle, like I said, with a non-mobile DPS or something that can like hella that can hit your shots, you can set up through there. As you start to push, like say you have access to to the point and you've pushed the enemy team back, you can push forward if, yeah, and use these things as cover to try and apply damage to keep them back. But once again, you don't really want to walk too far forward because if you walk this far forward, there's no cover, right? But if you were standing here and you were shooting and applying pressure and playing very passive and very safe and kept using these things as cover to back up, then that can work. But the choke that you ultimately want to hold is this doorway here, right? Because as they have to funnel in through that doorway, you can hold this left side, you can hold this right side. You can have someone up here holding this space. Is like if you have a DPS that's up here contesting this space, this is very valuable. You have a good eyes on them because once again, you can be in this room, you can grab the health pack. There's lots of ways for you to get out and maneuver, but you have great angle on everyone from up above. If you are a DPS player, this is the space you want to contest. And if you are a tank player or another enemy DPS, this is the space you want to deny. You want to make sure that there's not someone up there, having easy headshots from up above on you.
Captured more than half of the mission.
Use a bunch of the outside areas as cover. This health pack is pretty far away from the point, mostly like a Spider-Man health pack. Not one you usually find yourself using. Like I said, on this map and all these domination maps, it's very deathmatchy, but it's all about trying to rotate around like little pieces of cover and using them to your advantage to try and get those off angles on the enemy team. The more you try to all funnel in and try and play the Rock of Sock'em game, like it's just whichever team just applies damage faster is going to be the one that wins. And that's not really the way you want to play. You can see here how I'm always utilizing the tree, like I was saying before, where now once I start to take a little bit of damage, I can immediately hide behind the tree and I have cover. So now, even though my team is busy and they're handling other things, they're doing something over here. Even though I need resources, I'm not going to be demanding them. I'm not going to be standing out in front where I can take too much damage. I can play safe and rotate back around. And now once my team is available, now they can heal me up. This is why I'm always positioning myself near cover and trying to apply pressure where I can safely. I don't need to be standing on the point all the time. Whenever you are standing on the point, on all these different areas of capture points, whether it be convergence or domination, there's all too often people are standing directly in the middle and there's no cover in the middle. Play around the cover around the sides and the edges of the point. Stand in the middle and cap it once it's safe. Don't just stand in the middle and brawl out here because once there's too much damage coming in, you kind of get, there's no place for you to run to. Anyway, that is the Krakoa map guide, sort of the places you want to set up and sort of the places you want to hold. If you have any questions, please let me know. I tried to cover all the areas of like the chokes you want to set up on, and where you kind of want to off angle. Hopefully, I think I covered everything as support as well. If you have any questions, let me know. But otherwise, yeah, I hope you found this useful and thank you for watching.